What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy P. Skip. Welcome to the best half hour of your entire Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time to get into his course. My squad with me, T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigo.
Let's do this. Today, T-Mac is now with us. He's on vacation, enjoying the family down in Florida. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the sun, but we're gonna go ahead and get it done. 2 Corinthians 4, and I'm gonna read a little bit, 7 through 12 out of the Amplified says this. But we have this precious treasure, the good news about salvation in unworthy earthen vessels of human frailty, so that the grandeur and surpassing greatness of the power will be shown to be from God, his sufficiency, and not from ourselves. And here's where I feel like those that were in the bubble felt like. We are pressed in every way, hedged in, but not crushed, perplexed, unsure of finding a way out, but not driven to despair, hunted down and persecuted, but not deserted, to stand alone, struck down, but never destroyed, always carrying around in the body the dying of Jesus, so that the resurrection of life of Jesus may be shown in our body. For we who live are certainly experiencing the threat of being handed over to death of Jesus for Jesus' sake, so that the resurrection of life of Jesus may be evident in our mortal body, which is subject to death. So physical death is actively at work in us, but spiritual life is actively at work in us as well. So you have these guys, especially the Lakers. They've been hunted down. They've been hard pressed on every side. Everybody wants a piece of the Lakers. And it seems like the thing which LeBron condemned the most is the thing that allowed him to be in the playoffs. And so for me, I looked at this whole play-in thing and I'm like, at first I was like, why? But after watching it, it had such a March Madness feel to it.
It did.
And I was like, you know what? I kind of, I'm kind of for this. I'm kind of for this because you realize some of these players haven't been in that kind of situation in 10, 15, 20 years.
Since high school, some of them.
Yeah. And then you have some of these players who've never been in it, on a college level. Like LeBron, he never played in March Madness. He wouldn't know what that was about.
Yeah.
So he got a chance to kind of feel like what his win or go home felt like. And so, I really enjoyed watching the play-in games, and, it gave me something that I haven't had in a while in the NBA. And that was just like, everybody got to bring their A game or else. I did think that the first game with Washington, I did feel like Russell Westbrook, I was like, oh, dude, you lost. And you played horrible that first game. But they made it up in that second game, which allowed them to be in. And so what was your thoughts on the play-in, Will?
Man, I love the play-in game. And I hope they keep this format for a bunch of reasons. Number one, I think it discourages tanking because, those bottom teams, they could say, and then you take a year like right now, there's not a Zion Williams or LeBron James in the college draft.
Right.
There's no guy who's guaranteed to turn your franchise around or to pack your arena in the college draft. So you have teams tanking for really mediocre type people. It's like the year that the Bucks had the second choice and Minnesota had the first choice. It was Wiggins and Jabari Parker. And neither one of those guys have been able to carry a franchise, but yet teams, end up tanking to get those type of players. So I think that part of it is probably the most encouraging for me. The other thing is it gives these teams and the fans an opportunity to see their team play for something. So those bottom teams that normally wouldn't be playing for nothing, they fans get to see them compete for a award or a reward, which would be the opportunity to be in a 7-game series. I think that's super. And the other thing that it does that I really, really like, a lot of those bottom end teams are teams that had traditionally been in the lottery or at the rebuilding. You get a chance to see some of the young talent in the NBA that you wouldn't normally see because they don't come on national TV. We watch a lot of regional stuff. You know, they have a lot of the stars, the Stephs, the LeBrons, the Giannis's, the KDs and stuff, Kyrie's on TV. So it gives you a chance to see some of the younger talent in the league also. And plus, it also gives those coaches an opportunity to do their X and O's in a competitive environment against their peers. So I think it's a great idea, and I hope it continues.
Yeah, I'm with you for all those same reasons. And, you know, I do think ultimately the reason was to get some more money.
Oh, yeah. They want to recover some of their money.
For the teams and for the ownership.
Right.
But I don't think they thought it was going to be as well received as it was.
Yeah.
I think they hit on something that could very easily change the format of the playoffs.
Yeah.
It could very easily change it, that they might add in, 10 teams in there now, that play in, or 12, who knows, but I do think they've realized there's some more money to be made for those 10 and up, those top 10 teams can make some more playoff money possibly. And then, and it also gives those that are in the top 8 some more rest, or those top 6 some more rest.
Yes. I'm gonna say something else that I think is very important with the times that we're dealing with right now. It gave people to see fans in the stands, because you could actually see the number of fans in attendance at different games going higher and higher and higher. So to have the fans back in the arenas enjoying it live and in person, I think that was huge for the NBA, huge for sports, but it really was huge for fans because, a lot of people really love their home basketball team. Like a city like Memphis, Memphis is one of those cities in the United States that's kind of downtrodden a lot. They don't have all of the glitz and glamour of some of our southern cities like New Orleans or Atlanta or Charlotte. But they have the weather, they're on the water, they're on the Mississippi River. They have everything they need to be one of those glamour type cities. They just don't have the leadership and the infrastructure to do it. But it gives their fans and the people in that region something to be excited about, seeing their team and their city on TV. So I think it's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, I think so too. I even think that it also allows some of those other players who never had a sniff of the playoffs an opportunity to say, okay, this is what it takes to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is what it feels like. This is the atmosphere change.
Right.
Yeah.
This is that next level that they've been talking about. This is that taking it up again that they've been saying, that LeBron been saying, that Steven Adams and them talk about. Hey, you got to take this up to the next level. But here you have them doing it. Say, okay, now I see what you're talking about. Now I see that there is another gear you have to be in the playoffs. And so I love it. I absolutely love it. So let's talk about, let's look at the playoff standings. And so in the East, and I want you, we're going to also talk about it, and we also going to talk about who do we think is really going to come out of each conference. In the East, you have 1 against 8, the Sixers against the Wizards. Now, I'm going to say this. The Wizards right now are looking like a very hit and miss team. It seems like there's not enough consistency to make much of a showing or an impact in the playoffs. Because, as much as I love, Wes is going to bring you a bunch of energy. He's going to bring it all day long. But what am I going to get out of you for point production? because I saw a lot of missed layups from Russ. I saw a lot of missed jumpers from Russ. I even saw missed free throws from Russ. And I'm like, listen, this is playoffs. You can't be missing stuff like this. We need those made. We got to have those. So, 1 versus 8, I think I'll give it to the Sixers. But here's my thing with the Sixers, though. And it's always going to be my thing with the Sixers. You never know what you got in Embiid. He may go from MVP possibly to medical bill because he gets injured so easily and so quickly that you don't know what you got with him. And so I can't hang my hat on him being there the whole playoffs. I think he could very easily, something could happen to him and he could be out in the second round because that's been his track record. So
yeah, he's not very durable. He's not very durable.
No, man. He's almost Lamar Odom-ish.
Hey, he the new Chris Paul.
Oh, wow. Hey, come on, bro. Let's not do that.
He the new Chris Paul.
Let's not do that to Chris, bro.
But when you talk about Philadelphia and Washington, it's a lot of formulas that seem to hold true traditionally when it comes to NBA basketball playoffs. Number one, you need 2 superstars two all-stars in order to make it into the playoffs. So you would need 2 all-stars. Well, Washington has that, of course. Philadelphia has that. You normally need 3 Hall of Famers in order to win an NBA championship. That's normally what you need. That's the formula that holds true. Speaking of that, shout outs to Bobby Dandridge, the Greyhound, who was recently inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, former Milwaukee Buck.
Should have been a long time ago.
Yeah, and I've gotten a chance to spend some quality time with the Greyhound and hang around him a bit, and he's a class individual, a real true brother. So Now back to that. You got teams that normally advance in the playoff have proven finishers. Because at the end of the game, you need to be able to give the ball to your superstar, and he need to deliver the goods. Now, Washington have 2 players like that in Westbrook and Beal. And of course, Philadelphia have 2 players like that with Simmons and Embiid. But they also just put a lot of veteran shooters around Embiid, which I think gives them an advantage that they never had in the past. And then last but not least, they hired Glenn Doc Rivers as the coach, and he's coached championship teams before. So I think Philadelphia, in my estimation, I think Philadelphia is the favorite to come out of the East.
Okay, Philadelphia
over Brooklyn.
Okay, so we also at 2 and 7 we have Nets, Brooklyn Nets, and Boston Celtics. We know where you're going with that.
Oh yeah, Boston don't. If Boston had their whole team healthy, they still no match for Brooklyn. Brooklyn, once again, they got 3 Hall of Famers. Really, they got 4 Hall of Famers because, they got 4 All Stars. With what's his name? From Dunk City. I mean, from Lob City. Blake Griffin. They got Blake Griffin, who's also come over. So they got a lot of stuff that they could use. I mean, so their favorite going against Boston, even a healthy Boston. I don't think Boston will win a game.
Okay.
I think they'll get swept.
Okay. Bucks Heat. Now, what's funny is I was on Clubhouse with a conversation with some guy who said Heat 4-1 against the Bucks. I said, you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
I said, you've absolutely lost your mind. I said, that's probably going to be flipped this year.
Yeah.
And for me, why it's going to be flipped is because Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, all those were like, they were surprises to everybody in the league. This year, they're like, oh, we know what y'all do. We know what y'all can do and can't do. And so we're going to key in on you, and we're going to see if Jimmy Buckets can win this by himself.
Well, I think Jimmy Butler is an all-star, but he's not a superstar. And with that being said, Miami doesn't have a true superstar. Now, Dragic, to me, is the key to their success because Dragic was a problem. But when we bring in a guard like Drew Holiday that
Right.
can play top-notch NBA defense, probably should be on the all-defensive team.
Right.
And he can also put pressure on you on the offensive end because he can average 20 points a game. I think that neutralized. And then you bring in PJ Tucker. Last year, we didn't have anybody to go put on Jimmy buckets to make him stop this foolishness or embarrassing us. But this year we have PJ Tucker that we can just we just keep PJ Tucker on the leash on the porch. And whenever somebody doing too much, we just say sick him. So we didn't have those options last year with the against Miami Heat. And once again, even though Middleton didn't make
Giannis was injured.
Giannis was injured. And I think Middleton, even though he didn't make the All-Star team this year, I think this was his best year as a pro in the NBA as far as being clutch. So I think it'll be a different flavor this year.
I think so as well. Last but not least, Knicks and Hawks. That's going to be a good matchup.
That's the number one in this first round. To me, that's the best series.
Yeah.
It's the best series. Who you got?
I can't call it on that one.
Who you got? What's your gut telling you? What's your gut telling
you? You know, it's so you don't know. My gut is saying Atlanta. Because the Knicks are still, to me, kind of young. Both teams are young, but the Knicks are kind of trying to still figure it out, whereas Atlanta seems like they have more continuity with their offense. And here's the other thing with the Knicks. Randolph, I think, is shooting too many threes. And he's not consistent enough to be shooting them like he's shooting them.
Yeah.
And I think that if he just plays more bully ball than finesse ball, I think I would give it more to them. But because he's playing more finesse ball, I think you cannot finesse with a Trae Young because he'll shoot the finesse right out you.
Yeah.
He'll shoot the finesse right out you. And so that's why I'm giving it to Atlanta. What about you? Where are you going with it, Will?
Well, I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks for a couple obvious reasons. Number one, Clint Capella is having an outstanding year under the radar. Yes. He's having an outstanding year. He's going to get them a lot more opportunities because he's an excellent offensive rebounder, rim protector. He's athletic. So that gives them an advantage in the middle as a big. The other thing that I think is crucial when it comes to Atlanta is that they have more talent than the Knicks.
Yeah.
They just have more talent than the Knicks. So when the Knicks, when Julius Randle is not doing what Julius Randle's supposed to do, there's nobody else who can step in and carry that load. The Atlanta Hawks have a deeper bench. They have players coming off their bench who can do different things. And I think the pickup of Bogdanovich by the Atlanta Hawks, offensively, I think that's what they needed on the offensive side to give them the extra gear to compete. So I'm giving it to Atlanta.
So who do you think is going to come out the East?
I think Philadelphia is coming out the East.
You know, what's funny is I was on Clubhouse and these guys are just like, the Nets. I said, let me help you out with something. Let me give you some insight. The Nets have 1 year to do this. I said, because it is going to be the Bucks in the East. And this is why. The Nets have players, superstars that are past their prime. Giannis hasn't gotten to his yet.
Yeah.
And so that's going to make that's why you're seeing all those injuries with the Nets, because they're older, they got mileage on them, and they're past their prime. And then you have Kyrie, who has said to them, listen, NBA ain't even my focus.
Yeah.
It's not even my focus. So you got a superstar, it's not their focus, and two other superstars that say, you know what, I'm getting old, I'm getting injured, I don't know how much longer I can do this on the level I'm doing it at. That says a lot considering the Bucks. And you locked into them with some major money. And even Blake Griffin coming off the bench has got miles on him.
Yeah. And he's injury prone also.
And is older. You know,
I think with the Bucks, in the Nets. I think the Bucks have the advantage over the Nets for several reasons. I think they have the advantage over the Nets because if we go player for player, okay, we go KD for Giannis. Okay, Giannis can punish KD physically because KD ain't the strongest guy in the world.
Not at all.
And when you go Kyrie and Holiday can punish Kyrie physically because he's not as physical. And then when you go the bearded one and PJ Tucker is a big dude physically.
Now, played against him. I mean, I played with him.
Yeah, he know a lot of his tricks of the trade. So I think defensively, we can't stop them, but they're gonna have a problem stopping us. I think for the Bucks, in order for the Bucks to be successful, it's gonna come to the role players. I think DiVincenzo, I think Forbes, those kind of guys.
You didn't even mention Middleton.
No, but Middleton. I mean, we got other players who are gonna have to be consistent and hit the same open shots that they hit in the regular season. They got to hit those shots in the thin air of the playoffs. And if they do that, I like the Bucks. I think the Bucks the biggest threat to Brooklyn, but I think Philadelphia gonna end up winning it because I think they got that number 1 seed, so they got an easier route.
But I think the one thing that the Bucks have over every other team in the Eastern Conference, and maybe even in the league, the Bucks have one of the deepest benches in the NBA.
Because Bobby Portis, the addition of Bobby Portis is huge for the Bucks. The Bucks are a much better team
with Jeff
than they were last year.
Yeah. Jeff Teague was huge for them.
Yeah, they're a better team than they were last year.
Much better.
A tougher team.
Yeah, they did it with proven sort of under the radar guys that were like, okay, you know what? These guys ain't gonna hurt us, but they can sustain and maintain the level that we're playing on right now. That it won't be such a drop when, Giannis sits. It won't be such a drop if we pull Middleton out. It won't be such a drop if Holiday sits. These guys can still keep that same intensity and be as proficient.
Yeah, we got reserves for some of our main players. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to watch to see how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. And I think what also is going to come down to, because the Bucks have had such a deep bench and they've played them, the Bucks players don't have as much mileage on them as some of these other players who have to play, 30 minutes a game, 35 minutes a game. They don't have to. And Bede, you got to play them kind of minutes for Philly to win.
He does. He has to play big minutes for Philly to win.
And so Giannis don't have to play them kind of minutes. Giannis can play, Embiid may have to play 38 minutes. Giannis may only have to play 28.
Yeah, 31 minutes, 31 minutes, yeah.
So I'm looking at the wear and tear on these bodies, and I'm also looking at, but again, this play-in gave them some more rest.
Yes.
And so we'll see what that looks. Let's quickly go to the Western Conference. I'm going to say this. Again, LeBron, you thank the Holy One himself for the play-in, because otherwise, it would be rough for the Lakers. So with that being said, out of the Western Conference, 1 versus 8, you have Jazz, the Utah Jazz versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Both of us have said it. I'm excited and happy for the city of Memphis. And I'm very happy for Ja Morant.
Yes,
and
very
how
happy.
He's been producing. He's definitely proven that I'm on my way to NBA all-stardom.
Yeah.
If I keep progressing the way I am.
Yeah, he's a legitimate all-star. A legitimate.
Yeah. So,
but I was saying that in that round too, Memphis has some talent. They really do. And they definitely have some athletes. And I don't even know their coach's name, but I think they're not going to get swept. And Donovan Mitchell hasn't been said how healthy he is, will he play, when he's coming back. So those type of things right there, I think is gonna give Memphis. I see Memphis winning 2 of these games.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a 6 to 7 game series as well. I do.
Yeah, because the crowd in Memphis is going to be bananas.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Because when's the last time they've had a playoff in Memphis?
Since the Grindhouse. And when they had the Grindhouse, they used to be bananas.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. So we are saying Jazz in 6 or 7. So
Yeah.
Jazz is going to
Jazz
win
is
it.
6. Jazz is 6.
Okay. Number 2, Suns versus the number 7 Lakers. What do you say to that?
You know what I say to that? I think the Lakers gonna sweep them.
Okay. Well, here's the other thing. LeBron went to an unsanctioned event last night. Yep.
What?
LeBron has a tequila company, a tequila company that he invested in, and he went to their event, an unsanctioned NBA event.
And
So
broke protocol?
He may have to go to COVID protocol.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he may have to go through COVID protocol, bro.
Oh my God. Oh wow. Well, it won't be a sweep then. It won't be a sweep.
You know, here's the other thing. Where the Lakers are weak is exactly where the Suns are strong. That guard area is where the Suns are like assassins in that area. And that's the weakest point of the Lakers game. And so I think that them two could cancel out one another. That I think that it could be very competitive if it comes down to LeBron, because we still don't know what LeBron didn't look well in the playoffs. I mean, the play.
No, he did.
So you don't have a 100% LeBron here. And so I don't know if his body can sustain carrying this team to these playoffs. So I may give, for me, I may be giving the edge to the Suns on this one.
Oh my goodness.
7.
Oh my goodness.
I think it may be a 7. And I think the Suns are going to surprise people with the intensity that Chris Paul is going to make them play at.
Well, I think players like Wesley Matthews, who is excellent defensive player and a big guard. See, that's the other thing. Phoenix guards both are little guards. The Lakers have big guards. Caruso and them, they big. They not no little dudes. You know, so I think size-wise and physicality, I think they can give Phoenix trouble. Now, Ayton in the middle against all them big boys that the Lakers got, that's a wash. They're going to kill poor Ayton. And Ayton ain't been in this, so Ayton going to choke. I look for Ayton to choke. I look for him to try to find a rock to hide under. And then it's over from that point. The Lakers got the bigs in the middle that they can throw at Ayton, and I think it's over with for Ayton. Ayton is going to start, you know, he's going to be scared of his shadow.
I think, I think it's going to come down to tempo. It's going to come down to tempo. Because if Phoenix can get the Lakers to get into a run and gun game, Phoenix is going to get them. But if the Lakers can get Phoenix to slow down and not be so much wear and tear on LeBron and AD, throw it in the middle and let AD and Hammond just beat up on them, then I think it could be an extremely difficult series for Phoenix.
Oh, I think this is where all those trades, the Drummond trade comes in. This is where, what's the guard they got with the little dye in his hair? What's his name?
Jesus.
Yeah, the German kid.
Right.
All of them players they traded for McLemore. Those players come in and
well, great show, man. Listen, meet us back here next week, same bad time, same bad channel, right here, Georgia.